Top 10 Medieval Superfoods Still Grown Today. In an age when survival depended on the soil, the Middle Ages cultivated more than faith and fortresses. Beneath the clang of swords and the toll of church bells grew a secret arsenal. Plants and foods so powerful they shaped health, medicine, and even empires. Some of these ancient superfoods were guarded by monks, traded like gold, and prescribed as cures for almost everything. And remarkably, many still thrive today, lining your grocery shelves and thriving in backyard gardens. Welcome back to Nature's Arcana, and today we journey through medieval superfoods still grown, eaten, and revered across the modern world. Relics of a forgotten diet that sustained knights, healed plagues, and whispered wisdom through the centuries. So set down your plow and pour yourself a tankard of mead. This is the top 10 medieval superfoods still grown today. Number 10. Barley, the grain that built empires. Before wheat and corn ruled the modern diet, barley was the grain of endurance. In medieval Europe, it was the backbone of bread, beer, and medicine alike. Monks brewed it. Peasants baked it. Physicians prescribed it. Dense barley loaves filled stomachs when famine loomed, and warm barley beer nourished soldiers through long campaigns. Medieval healers even boiled barley water as a tonic for fever and inflammation. A humble grain turned liquid medicine. Barley was the grain of survival, able to grow in less fertile soils and marginal climates, which made it a staple food for the average person in those days. Today we know why it was so beneficial. Barley's beta-glucans lower cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, and feed the gut microbiome. A 1,000-year-old secret now verified by science. From barley's golden fields rises another leafy relic of resilience, one that wore the crown of winter itself. Number 9. Kale, the knight's leafy armor. Long before kale became a trendy smoothie ingredient, it was a lifeline of medieval Europe. Hardy enough to survive frost, kale, known then as colewort, was the green that refused to die. When disease and cold stalked the countryside, kale kept families nourished through dark months, loaded with vitamin C, calcium, and antioxidants. In cottage gardens and monastic courtyards, it grew beside leeks and onions, the holy trinity of survival. Even centuries later, the British revived kale during World War II under the slogan, "Dig for Victory." Without realizing it, they were resurrecting an ancient tradition of wartime nutrition that had carried peasants through centuries of hardship. And speaking of survival foods with bite, the next ingredient wasn't just for stews, it was a shield against death itself. Number 8. Garlic, the peasant's penicillin. Garlic was feared, revered, and even hung at doorways to ward off evil. But its real power was medicinal. In medieval Europe, garlic was the first line of defense against disease. Soldiers carried cloves into battle to heal wounds and infections. Healers crushed it into poultices for fevers, and some even believed it could fend off the plague. Modern science now knows garlic contains allicin, a potent antimicrobial compound that fights bacteria and boosts immunity. The medieval healers weren't guessing, they were observing results. And here's a tale that survived the centuries. During the Black Death, grave robbers coated themselves in a garlic and vinegar potion before looting plague victims, claiming it kept them safe. The legend of thieves' oil was born, and it's still sold in herbal markets today. From garlic's fiery bite, we turn to a food that offered quiet strength, a humble seed that became the monk's meat. Number 7. Lentils, the monastic meat. In a world where meat was luxury and fasting was law, lentils became the medieval protein powerhouse. They grew in poor soil, cooked quickly, and offered iron, fiber, and amino acids enough to sustain entire communities. Monks called them God's peas, believing they purified both body and soul. To the nobility, lentils were peasant fare. To the monasteries, they were spiritual nourishment, humble, hearty, and endlessly versatile. Archaeologists have even found lentil seeds in castle kitchens from the 12th century, proving that when the stores ran low, even knights turned to the stew pot. From the warmth of the monastery to the shadows of the forest, our next superfood comes wrapped in myth and medicine alike. Number 6. Elderberry, the forest's forgotten shield. To medieval herbalists, the elder tree was sacred, a gateway between the living and the spirit world. Considered to have magical qualities, it was often planted near homes to ward off witches and evil spirits. Its flowers became soothing teas, its berries, elixirs against fever and plague. The branches were said to house spirits, and cutting them without permission risked the wrath of the Elder Mother, the Norse guardian of the tree. Today we understand that elderberries are rich in anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that strengthen the immune system and shorten viral infections. However, even back then, healers knew to cook them. For raw elderberries produce the toxin cyanide when metabolized, but simply cooking it neutralizes the poison. And from the forest's hidden healer, we move to the grain of the cold, wet north, the fuel of survival and stubborn endurance. Number 5. Oats, the fuel of the forgotten north. In the misty highlands and windswept coasts, oats were the bread of the north. Where wheat withered, oats thrived, feeding peasants, soldiers, and steeds alike. A steaming bowl of oat porridge was warmth itself, slow energy that kept laborers strong through long, bitter winters. The English once mocked oats as fit only for Scots and beasts. But centuries later, we know who had the last laugh. Modern nutritionists hail oats as heart-healthy, rich in fiber, and stabilizing for blood sugar. And interestingly, the oat milk trend of today isn't new at all. Medieval monks soaked oats in water to make simple fasting drinks. The first plant-based milk centuries before its comeback. And from the fields of the north, we turn to an orchard of temptation and healing, a fruit that straddled sin and salvation. Number 4. Apple, the forbidden healer. The apple, symbol of knowledge, sin, and redemption, was also the physician's fruit. In medieval medicine, apples were prescribed baked for digestion, pressed into cider for hydration, and boiled into tonics for fevers. Stored in cool cellars, they provided rare freshness through long winters. Monks mixed apple, honey, and vinegar into a potion called oxymel, an early energy tonic astonishingly close to today's sports drinks. The blend soothed throats, revived fatigue, and strengthened immunity. Even rotten apples had their uses, becoming soothing paste to be applied to sore eyes. Interestingly, medieval apples were not the large, sweet fruits they are today, but were smaller and often more tart. And from the orchard's sweetness comes its earthy cousin, a vegetable so common it became a miracle in disguise. Number 3. Cabbage, the ancient detox. To medieval healers, cabbage was no mere vegetable. It was medicine wrapped in leaves. It was prescribed for headaches, ulcers, and wounds. Rich in sulfur compounds and vitamin K, cabbage acted as a natural cleanser, a detox, long before the word existed. When winter set in, cabbage transformed into sauerkraut, a fermented marvel teeming with probiotics that preserved health through months without fresh produce. The 13th century mystic and physician Hildegard of Bingen called cabbage the doctor of the poor, praising its power to heal from within. Frowned upon by the upper classes of that time, cabbage was considered peasant food, but it was also believed to counteract the effects of heavy drinking, a common ailment that affected both the rich and poor alike. And where cabbage cleansed the body, the next medieval treasure sweetened and healed everything it touched. Number 2. Honey, the golden antibiotic. Before sugar, honey was the nectar of life, food, medicine, and preservative. Medieval monks used it in tonics, salves, and sacred brews. Honey sealed wounds, preserved fruits, and flavored bitter herbs. It was so prized that some monasteries measured wealth in hives, making monks some of the best beekeepers of that time. Honey was also the key ingredient in mead or honey wine, a staple at feasts, weddings, and other celebrations. Modern research confirms honey's power. Its enzymes produce hydrogen peroxide, making it a natural antibacterial. Certain varieties, like Manuka, are still used in hospitals today, and astonishingly, honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of it still edible after 3,000 years, just as golden and potent as when ancient healers spread it on linen for wounds. But from sweetness, we return to something sharp, earthy, and indispensable, the root of flavor and the unsung wage of warriors. Number 1. Onion, the healer's bread and butter. If garlic was the soldier's shield, onion was the healer's bread and butter. In medieval kitchens, it flavored nearly every dish. In infirmaries, it was mixed with honey to treat coughs and wounds. Physicians believed it purified the blood and strengthened the heart, ideas now echoed in studies of quercetin, an anti-inflammatory compound found in onions. So vital was this humble bulb that during the Crusades, soldiers were sometimes paid their wages in onions, 3 a day for a man at arms, food, medicine, and currency, all in one tear-inducing package. Onions were also believed to ward off evil spirits, and people would hang rows of them on their doors. And as disappointed as a newlywed couple would be today to receive one, onions were once so prized that they were often given as wedding gifts. And there you have it. Across 1,000 years, the medieval world's forgotten foods still whisper through our kitchens. Barley in your beer, kale in your salad, garlic in your sauce, honey in your tea. These ancient ingredients built empires, healed the sick, and survived the rise and fall of civilizations. Because nature's wisdom never truly fades. So next time you slice an onion or sip a barley brew, remember, you're tasting the same life that once sustained knights, monks, and kings. Which of these medieval superfoods surprised you most? Tell us below. And if you love exploring the hidden history and wonder of nature, like, subscribe, and join us again on Nature's Arcana.